What's up, YouTube? Hey, if you're up for a culinary adventure today, just follow Randi the Science Guy as I take you deep in the world of how to bottle up your kombucha. It's happening today. Just love homemade kombucha. It's fermented tea is what it is. And it's ancient. I mean, it goes back thousands of years. Long story short, we discussed it and we decided, okay, we're going to try to do it in the bus. So we got everything that we need. We started brewing it. We're now getting ready to bottle up our second batch. The first batch came out okay. And our scobies, which is the culture, it's a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast that grow in the tea, that eat the tea and the tannins or tannins or something that are in the tea. It eats them. It eats the sugar. That's how the fermentation process happens. And the byproduct can be really fizzy or slightly fizzy, delicious tasting tea. And it's kind of low in calories because the bacteria, the yeast, eats all the sugar up. So you make a batch of sweet tea, put in this SCOBY, it ferments, you bottle it, add flavors to it, you got kombucha. That's what we're doing. So Shelly's over here going through the recipes. What you got figured out, babe?
I am plotting out some different things to try with what we have on hand. Okay, so we've been letting our kombucha live back here behind the TV. And she's been doing pretty good back here.
So now they can see how serious our commitment is, right? We are committed.
There it is, people. Here's all of our bottles. Our bottle brushes for cleaning. Our funnel, good funnel for getting the stuff into it. So let's get to making some homemade kombucha, guys. It's like any kind of canning that you do. You want to have a really clean, sterile environment that you're working in.
So the first step in the process is you got to get ready for the next batch. So we are doing what they call the batch brew. So we're making 1.5 gallons of kombucha at a time. So the first thing we got to do is get the starter tea for the next batch going. And that'll all make sense as we go along. So here's my master brew to do 1.5 gallons. I'm going to use 10 tea bags, 4 cups of water, and 1.5 cups of sugar. So I'm going to bring that up to a boil and steep the tea and add the sugar. A SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. It's alive. It's alive, YouTube. It's a live thing. And you can't cook it. So I'm making this concentrated tea with the sugar dissolved in it. And I'm going to cool that off and mix it with cold water before I put the SCOBY back in the new batch. So here's a tip from Randi the Science Guy. No, don't scald your SCOBY.
So guys, if you're wondering where to get a SCOBY, we got ours off of Amazon. This is what it looked like when it came. It was in this pouch right here. And that's what we started with. And then we love this kombucha book. So it pretty much has a lot of really cool recipes in it, but it also tells you how to make kombucha from start.
That's the Bible right there.
Randy swears by this book.
Oh, these two. This book, if you get confused, this book takes you step by step. It's got pictures of what things should look like. It's got hundreds of recipes. These two did an awesome job writing this book. And I'm not getting paid for that. This is my second copy. I gave the first one away. Yeah, so we're choosing to do it with green tea, mostly because it has more antioxidants in it. So I just think green tea is healthier, but green.
And aren't you supposed to use green or black tea?
I used to do half and half. So you could do any kind of the real tea, not herbal teas. You can't do it with herbal teas.
So I've got some fresh blueberries, some fresh strawberries, but remember, they got to fit in the opening of this little guy right here. So I'm going to get to dicing.
I got my water I brought it up to a boil and I turned it off and let it cool off just a little bit because the full boil is too hot. So the heat's off now and these are just going to steep in there for 10 minutes. In the meantime, here at nap time, Shelly is preparing her vegetables.
No, look, this is fruit.
Oh, this is fruit.
This is
Look how expertly she cleaves the strawberry with that knife. She is a kombucha master. I get to do all the bottle washing. Well, at least I know I'll have clean bottles.
Orange juice going to be good together?
What? Strawberries and orange juice?
Why not? I mean, have I cut
Strawberry.
up too many strawberries?
The other thing is you don't have to put anything in it. It tastes good when it's after it's been fermented, which took 2 weeks. And you can just bottle it and drink it, or you can just take it out of the vessel. And there's different ways to do this.
Oh, but I think it's so much more fun to have fruit in it, have that underlying flavor of a fruit of some sort.
Plus, I love that it colors them. They'll all be different
Yeah,
colors.
they're different colors. It's fun to watch them come alive, if you want to call
Because
it
it's
that.
alive. Come on, Jenny.
It's alive culture, people. And you know what the best part is that I love? It is so good for your gut. Oh, my gut loves kombucha, people.
Basically, I mean, I wash these bottles when we're done using them.
Uh-huh.
And that's why you got the bottle brush, and you got to bend these bottle brushes so if you do got to use it, so that it'll reach over there and get down in that corner.
Okay, it's been 10 minutes on our tea.
Yeah, maybe a little bit longer. Yeah, 10 minutes. I like to put them in this strainer so that I can push all of get all of that in there.
The excess good juice.
Well, we made tea, we want it. And then these all just go in
And the garbage.
the garbage. And then while this is still warm, put in the sugar. You got to figure out your own what you're doing. We're making 1.5 gallons at a time, so it's 1.5 cups of sugar. The SCOBY comes with the recipe, or the book has the recipe, or there's tons of them online, but I already showed you mine earlier in the video. So put the sugar in here and get it completely dissolved. You're on the ear cam.
Mm-hmm.
What you doing?
Stuffing my bottles. Putting all this yummy fruit down inside.
Doesn't it smell good?
Oh, even just having fresh fruit cut up.
Smells good. The strawberries make your mouth kind of water.
Yeah.
Pretty good smell.
Having them kind of designated out like this makes it a little bit easier for me. So I got my little blueberries cut up too.
Hey, what about a strawberry blueberry blend?
Oh, we could do that. You want to try that?
Anything's possible.
Anything is possible. Okay, here we go, people. It's the first strawberry blueberry blend at nap time.
This is the fun part.
I know.
Strawberry blueberry. Okay, guys, so you saw these back in the bedroom where they live, in the great room. So they've got a cloth with a rubber band around them. That's so they can get oxygen and breathe. And then there's your SCOBY.
Oh, look how much he's grown.
So that looks kind of scary, but the brown stuff is yeast. If there was anything that went wrong here, it would be mold. And if it's mold, it's white and fuzzy and it's dry, floating up on the top. So I cleaned my hands really well. So this SCOBY, I'm just going to gently take in and put him into this bowl.
Look at you, buddy.
Now, all this stuff floating around in here is yeast.
That's all the good stuff, guys.
So you are able to control your yeast to a certain extent. So there's a lot of yeast that's settled down onto the bottom of this. So I'm going to take 2 cups out of here. That's not a cup and a half, that's 2 in Randy's.
How many? Do it closer. How many? Go.
That's 2 cups, not a cup and a half, that's actually 2. But if you take it off the top and don't stir it up, you won't get as much yeast.
And then all that good stuff will go in our kombucha drinks.
Uh,
And
we're-
it'll
we're-
just make more.
We're not out of balance anyhow.
Right.
If it gets if there's more and more yeast stuff floating around in there, you can take those brown strands and pick them out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So here again,
Here's
you
SCOBY
see-
number
See,
2.
this one doesn't have quite as much yeast. But
And-
look at that. Look at now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, now you can see what I just put in the bowl here is what's grown since we got it. And this was the original SCOBY that I cut in half so that I could start 2 batches. And I'm going to leave him in there one more time. Now you can look at these 2 and see this guy's got a lot more yeast in it. So if I leave that down in the bottom, I'll keep from that yeast getting too heavy in the final.
Oh, guys, I wish you could smell the bus right now. Ah,
So this is how we start the next batch. The SCOBY, 2 cups of starter. And then while these are sitting here, I'm going to cover them back up because you don't want fruit flies in your SCOBYs. Okay, so they're all safe and happy.
and then this
That's kombucha.
is all the stuff that's going to go into our jars, into our bottles, right?
Right. So because I have, mostly because we're traveling, is why I'm doing this in the smaller containers and using 2 of them. This is so wide open, you could have a 5-gallon pail if you wanted. But what I'm going to do is box them together, back and forth. Now, look at all that yeast in that one. Compared, or maybe it shows better from the top down. Look at how much more that one has.
Wonder
So-
if he was back in the corner where it was darker.
It's just a matter of how they're doing. I just pulled out that big bunch of yeast. Yeast in kombucha is what eats stuff in your digestive tract. It causes gas. And I don't want to give her any more yeast than she absolutely needs. That's where I'm coming to here, people. She's got enough yeast already. She doesn't need a boost.
Remember, I told you my gut really likes kombucha, people.
So I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Take a little bit of that yeast out. You could save this yeast. You can dry it, dehydrate it, you can save it up, and you can make sourdough starter and other things. It's all in that book if you want to get into that.
Maybe we could have kombucha bread, honey.
I'm not into it that far, so
Oh, but the future's wide open, people, in bus life, right?
yeah. So basically, I've boxed these back and forth. You can see they're pretty even. As you're putting them into the bottles, keep it stirred up. Otherwise, the yeast is going to settle back down while you're working here. And some bottles are going to have a lot of yeast and others not as much.
Okay, guys, so this is the strawberry. We're putting 2 tablespoons of orange juice. Right.
The most funny thing is the guys that are, so see, I'm stirring this up before I get my dip out. But the guys that are going to laugh because this is actually a funnel for your truck to put the diesel additive in. But it's got the air vents on the side and it's
It works great for getting the kombucha in that little bottle.
That's all we could get.
Yeah.
Man, that does smell good with that orange juice.
With the orange juice in there, guys, oh my gosh.
You want to fill them clear up.
Don't we normally go to about there?
You want to fill them really full. I guess they call that headspace because you basically don't want...
There you go. You're right at the nick. I would say that's why there's a nick on there.
I would say the nick is part of the construction process. Now here's how a swing top bottle works. So you put that up on the top there, and then this just swings down and it's sealed up. So the reason to get this fairly full is you don't want oxygen in there that could let bacteria feed on it. So it's another way to keep it clean. And then they're just going to come over here and inevitably you got some stuff on them. So, oh man, bus people
I'm like,
don't like to have
we
water
just pumped water.
Whatever. That's how it works.
Okay, YouTube, Randi the science guy is making a huge mess. He's having way too much fun. He's got kombucha all over the cabinet. He's got it on the floor. He's laughing as he works. But hey, we're having fun, right?
It's not my fault. I don't have the proper equipment. We're stuck out here in the boondocks.
So now we're doing craisins, cranberries, and orange juice with the kombucha. Okay, Randi, what do you think?
Well, you've heard from Randi the science guy, but my last good math class was in junior high. So I told her we would get 12, but we only got 10.
So
My bad.
We've got two here that we've got a craisin and a blueberry that is without.
But that's okay.
And guys, as excited as we were about all of our different recipes, this is what happened last time. We get in here, we open the orange juice, it smelled so good. We pretty much put orange juice in everything. So there's only one blueberry with lime juice because we had just a little bit of lime juice that we wanted to use up, and that one was really good. So anyway, hopefully the orange juice is going to be great because it's in everything else.
2.5 cups.
Yeah.
2.5, these are 20-ounce bottles. Aha!
So, bottom line, we got 10 bottles of kombucha. Guys, I got a bowl of fruit to eat and a wee bit of orange juice left. So your tea is dissolved, the sugar is dissolved.
All right, so now these guys both get 2 cups. We split this in half. 1, 2.
So just a reminder, guys, this is the green tea with the dissolved sugar in it.
3, 4, and a pinch for your grandma. Okay, there's 2 cups of starter, which is come down to room temperature now. So like, it's still lukewarm. 10 cups of water. So I put 2 cups of concentrate. Now I'm going to add 10 cups of water.
This is freshly hand pumped this morning, guys, from a water source nearby.
Yeah, you don't want to use chlorinated water. You want to use filtered water if you can. If you're forced into chlorinated water, tap your water out the day before and let it set with an open container so the chlorine can gas off, because the chlorine will kill the SCOBY. All right, we got...
Well, and can I just add to, we have been using Berkey water filtered.
Yeah.
But with this resource right from a well.
Is really good tasting. The better the water tastes, the better the kombucha is going to taste, just like beer or any other water, bagels. All right, so now this is cool because this was cold water. So this is cool. It's not even just lukewarm now. Now this guy and the starter liquid goes back in.
Oh, we just gave him a whole bunch of new good stuff to eat. Grow, baby, grow.
So I'm going to take a paper towel and clean it. You really don't want to leave these sitting around open. You want to keep the fruit flies out of them. So that one's ready to go back in the bedroom, and that SCOBY will either float or lay down on the bottom. It's up to him. But as it starts eating the tea and the sugar, it'll grow a new layer up on the top. And these are not the thickest ones that I've ever had, because the bus is just barely warm enough for this process.
Well, and another reason why we're not tapping it all the way up is we've got to leave room for when we travel so they don't slosh around.
Yeah. And if things work out with UPS and the post office, I'm going to get some little mats that I can put on here that'll warm these so I can get them into a more ideal temperature range. But it's working. The tea needs to be 75 degrees. It really works perfect at 75. But
And don't they like kind of a dark area, not in direct
they like
sunlight?
to be in the dark because it's like a bacteria thing. It doesn't, sunlight will purify it and kill it.
So that was one of the reasons why we stuck it back in the back bedroom there behind the TV, because that's pretty much in the shade all the time.
I'm tired.
Yeah, it's really kind of an energy rush because it's fun to be back doing this again. But the one thing I'm sitting here as I'm wiping these off, I hope we can tell which is which. I mean, you can kind of tell by the fruit what's inside, but the craisins and the blueberries, since we put orange juice in with them, they might be a little bit more challenging to tell which is which.
So now these bottles we put in the flavorings, we sealed them up. Now they're going to sit back there with the kombucha in that tub. The reason they're in the tub is that it's not impossible that they can explode. So now these are in their secondary fermentation. It was fermented for 2 weeks the first time, turned into kombucha. Now it's been added to the bottles with the flavorings and sealed up with the swing tops. And it'll go back with the master brew in the dark. And Shelly likes them at about 3 days. So Shelly likes hers a lot. She doesn't like it as tart. You can take kombucha to really very tart flavor if you choose to. Or you can just go like last time she started tasting it after 1 day. And I think you were happy with it at 3 days,
yeah,
right?
I think it was 3 days that I really enjoyed it. It wasn't super sweet anymore, and it was enhanced with the fruit of the flavor.
Yeah, so she got the flavoring and just a little bit of carbonation. I've left them in the secondary ferment, especially if I used apple juice and ginger. And I had that bottle in the sink. When I popped the top, the stream of carbonation hit the ceiling. So it's not impossible if it goes, it can go its own way if it's warm and it's got enough sugar to eat in there. That's why we bought the high quality bottles to not have that problem.
Yeah, and see, personally, I don't like a lot of the carbonation.
Yeah.
So
if it's too carbonated, it bothers her. So she likes it a little bit sweeter and less carbonated.
Yeah.
The longer it goes, it loses sweetness, gains tartness, and carbonation.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is you can make it however you want.
It's personal choice.
It's up to you to make it be the way that you want it. So.
And then once you get it to the way you like it, you put it in the refrigerator, and it just slows the process down.
Yeah. Once it's in the fridge, it'll continue to ferment, but at a much lower rate. So. Anyhow, the subject of kombucha is so long that you've seen the thickness of that book. And but we just took you through the basic process that we're using for ourselves.
And we're so excited to be able to be making homemade kombucha again. and we've got control of what's going into it now.
Processed foods, I'm tired of you. I have to decipher your labels to tell what's in there. I'm like,
And
come on, how hard can it be to just really tell us what's in the whatever? I'm going to rant on this. I'm like,
so we'll just put those back in the back behind the TV with the rest of the brew and let it work its magic. So, Mr. Randy, who's going to clean up the kitchen?
we both know the answer to that. So this is where the freshly bottled bottles will live for the next 3 days. And then they'll go in the fridge, and Shelly wants to watch TV. It just has to be 10 bottles closer to her.
Well, and it, you know, living in the bus, guys, it makes a huge difference when that TV is sticking out a little bit more for walking around the bed. But it's a compromise you have to make with bus life, right?
So if you want to make your own kombucha, I won't show the label on this, but it's totally okay to reuse these bottles. You can start out with this type of bottle and just wash it and reuse it. I mean, I did it when I first started. I really love those swing tops.
Yeah, they're pretty fun.
Bright color will fade from the fruit and transfer to the kombucha. And a lot of the time, the fruit sinks back to the bottom.
Yeah. And what's also kind of cool is each day you can come back and kind of shift the bottle a little bit, and it'll start percolating little bubbles.
So don't shake it.
So, yeah, don't just gently roll it.
See what's going on.
Yeah, that's how we check to see how it's doing.
Okay, here's another part of the process, you guys, is that basically Shelly has a logbook of what we did today. So show them the back. I already showed this at the start.
Yeah, this is the beginning.
We've got our master brew, what we're doing, the master brew mix.
So this was our first bottling. So now I'm getting ready to write down today what we did, and I'll have to
the date that we bottled it and what we put in for flavors.
Yeah.
So you can refer back to it and go, oh, that's been in the bottle for 3 days, or
also, ooh, we like that because we know these three recipes right here we really enjoyed. So if it's something we don't enjoy, we can put a line through it or something and say, yeah, no good.
So if you struggle with turning a deuce loose, this might be just the thing for you. We know that this is good. We love it. But a word of caution. Be very, very careful. If you haven't been drinking kombucha,
oh yes,
and you chug a whole bottle of that because it tastes mighty fine, it's low in calories. It's not like drinking a soda with fructose in it. It's got real cane sugar. Everything's good about it, except your system ain't used to having all that probiotics in it. Yeah. And you can get the loopy doozies. Uh-huh. What do you call it?
You can be set free pretty quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, when I drink it, I only usually drink a half a bottle at a time. So I can't. Randy can drink a whole bottle. I stretch mine out, guys. But you know, the other thing we just wanted you guys to share with you too is, don't stop living your life because you live in a bus or in a tiny home or something. You know, you just open yourself up to the possibilities and
got to change. Maybe you have to make some changes.
Yeah, bring in what you love to do. Embrace it.
Maybe you can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, my old system, I had bottle washers. I had sterilizing. Oh, man, I had everything. I had it all. But I have had that experience.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for that.
We've learned from that, and we're learning how to adapt it to bus life.
Well, and just to bring it back to the basic, simple needs. I mean, the bottle washer was so cool. You pumped it, it squirted it out.
You had colored bottles and everything.
I had different bottles. It was awesome.
But minimalist, bus life.
Yeah.
Simplify.
Only problem is this going to fill your nature's head sooner.
That's your department.
I got to dump that.
Okay, guys, this was awesome sharing this with you. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. And we will just catch you in the next video. Bye.
Get yourself a SCOBY. Make some kombucha. Man, I'm all done making that kombucha. I'm exhausted. That's a lot of work keeping up with her.